my underwater scuba fighting scenes in every action movie. That shit slaps. Thunderball sees the evil Spectre obtain 2 nuclear warheads as they ask for a ransom of £100 million. Or, in 7 days, they'll use the weapons themselves. The Secret Service sends James Bonds to the Bahamas in order to once again save the world. After Goldfinger, I was kind of just hoping for a film that would step it up a little bit more, maybe take itself a little bit more serious, while still being able to have a lot of that creative fun that we see with this franchise. And, I think after everything, I gotta say, with Thunderball, I think I walked away with just a little bit more than I expected. As always with the positives, Connery, once again, is just giving a great performance as Bond. He still has that swagger and that edge, but he has those little moments and details that I think sticks out just a little bit to show his more human nature in this film. I really like the villains. They're really iconic, with Largo and his eye patch, and Flipa Vlu, I can't really say her name, being this like femme fatale. They're twisted and sinister, and I think you just get a fun kick out of it, especially with their plan overall. I really gotta say, I dig the relationship that we have with our love interest here. She kind of has a twisted story that grows and changes as she learns more about what happened to her brother, and I think that brings a bit more to the table when it comes to this film. Her relationship with Bond, I think since she's here for most of the beginning, starts to actually grow and actually become something. They have a lot of good moments and conversations that really stick in your mind. I like that this film is sort of like a Die Hard in the sense that Bond just happens to be in the right place at the wrong time, or sort of that situation where he's already been following along with the villain's plot without even knowing it. The action and the stunt work in this is really, really good stuff. There's little set pieces and moments that you remember as you count back of what happened in the film. On top of that, they do just some amazing underwater stuff, and that ending had me so captivated with everything that they were doing and the way it's all edited that I was just like, how did they do this? They clearly put a lot of time and effort into it, and you just have to appreciate that. The music also follows along great with what Goldfinger did. It has some of the more traditional spy themes, but I think they bring a lot of more sexy vibes into it, if that makes sense. With a name like Thunderball, I think you kind of have to. This is just another one of those classic plots where the villains are coming up with a scheme that they will use to gain power and money. And I think through that, you're able to tell a bit more of a personal story for our main love interest and build a better connection with Bond, like I mentioned before. Overall, I think it just gives you enough tension, enough action, while also just giving you a bit more character work, and I really appreciate that. Hopping into the mixed here, I gotta say, the movie starts off really slow. It doesn't really kick off until the actual plane crash, which I think is about 30 minutes in. Before that, you just kind of have Bond at this retreat, just slowly uncovering things, but not really. Things are just uncovering for you, the audience. And I think once you get past that plane crash and they get the missiles, the movie really kicks off and really starts to actually be the movie you came to see. Also, while Bond is still great and I like Connery, he gets a little bit more handsy in this one. I thought they would have toned that down after the whole scene in Goldfinger. It's not as egregious or as bad, I think, but it's still something that I always have to knock points off for, because I think it's just the wrong way to show like what an actual action hero or man should be, for crying out loud. Moving into the negatives, I gotta say, for how good I think the story actually is, the plotting itself never actually feels as high stakes or as big of a deal as you would hope it would feel. They capture the nuclear warheads and you think, oh my gosh, they're in 7 more days, they're gonna destroy, oh, what are they gonna blow up, what are they gonna do? And really, you spend a lot more time with just Bond on vacation, Even the villains are just hanging out, just kind of waiting. They're not really doing much. They just have the missiles on hand, and everyone's just kind of there. Well, I think the middle of this film is fun and entertaining. With not being as high stakes, it slows down a bit in the middle, which I think is just something I'll have to live with these early Bond films, if I'm being honest. I do think the ending actually gets a little rushed for me overall. Like, after the whole awesome underwater fight, Bond just hops onto the ship and just immediately they just kill everyone. And then he walks away with Domino and the movie just ends. You know what? For how much everything was building up and for how all the characters were growing, they could have done a little better. But I guess they just were running out of time and needed to just get it done. Overall, I think it's just kind of sad because you do get a bit of that revenge arc for Domino, but not as good as enough as it really should have been. Overall, it has iconic moments, a good plot, great villains, a really good love interest, amazing action, and it only really has just a few flaws here and there. It's trying to do a few new and interesting things while keeping to the same formula, and I think that's a good way to go for this film. Overall, for me, it comes in at 4 man-eating tiger sharks out of 5. These official Bond films have started to hit a really good stride for me. I wonder if our next film will have that same luck as we take a look at the second unofficial Bond film, Casino Royale 1967. See you all tomorrow. Gear up and gear out.